Poor guy. Didn't even stand a chance.
Looks like there's a note. Something doesn't feel right here. Never has.
Can't believe we're stationed out here. So far.
Please forgive my friend here.
Between tensions in the city and threats outside, the militia's in over their heads.
Hold a moment. They tell me you're going to Emerald Stair. Business or pleasure? Well, just remember to cover your mouth, sneeze into your elbow, and sleep with lavender under your pillow. Fair warning, Envoy. Before you showed up, Inquisitor Ludwig barged past me. She was looking none too pleased. I didn't ask. The less I know, the better. Anyway, I thought you should know Ludwig's on the prowl. Tread lightly.
So Ludwig's somewhere out there doing who knows what. Wonderful.
Hopefully, your handling of Egwolf brought us some grace with her.
You're cleared to pass, Envoy.
And Sam's sad to be leaving Paradise. I had no idea how tense things were with the Adirans moving in.
And Egwolf's death won't help matters.
You had to know that might happen. I mean, you've met Ludwig, right?
Regardless, the Steel Garrote will see this as an excuse to crack down. I get the feeling they've been looking for one.
Steel Garrote? I figured they're just more intense Adiran soldiers.
They're certainly making their presence known. Can't say they're making any friends, though.
I don't like that Ludwig woman. She gives me the vrikas.
Yeah, I've seen floggings gentler than the scolding she gave Hilgard. One's tacking and the other's jibing, if you catch my drift. Taking in the slack is one thing. They look ready to strangle each other with it.
And it's a good thing we're getting out of the city.
Yeah. Much as Liviana misses our company, I wouldn't count on your mysterious friend reviving you a second time.
Are you listening to that friend when you go all blank-eyed from time to time? Does your special friend talk to you? I mean, I had an imaginary friend when I was little, but they never brought me back from the dead.
He means that with all due professional respect, of course.
How do you know this friend doesn't mean us any harm? Well, maybe figure it out. We can't prepare for what we don't know is coming.
We're headed to Fior Verno to see if the Animancers know anything about the Dream Scourge, right? Maybe we'll learn something about your condition in the process.
Right. When it comes time to deal with Animancers, you two are on your own.
Most fun things are.
They could stand around and have scholarly debates about souls all they want. Gives me a great opportunity to take a nap.
I haven't been back in a while, but Fior is an interesting place. It was founded about 50 years ago by a disgraced Valian duke and a handful of Animancers who'd soured on politics in the republics.
Town full of nobles, scholars, and leeches, all surviving off the work of the farmers who grow food for the whole island.
They're an eccentric bunch. You'll see. It turns out that academics are as ungovernable as the rest of us rabble.
They don't understand what they're messing with. They can't tame the wilds with machinery.
They've held it at bay until recently. Their ingenuity, or madness, or heresy, take your pick, has fed a lot of people in the living lands. But, rumor has it, some unnatural blight is destroying their crops. We'll find out soon enough. And while we're in Emerald Stair, there's something I've been putting off. An old friend from my time in Thirdborn had a cabin out in the woods. Tama. He passed a while ago, but he left something for me that I never got around to picking up. But since we'll be in Emerald Stair anyway, you won't regret it. Emerald Stair's lovely this time of year. Even the Delimgon bloom.
No matter what I tell you, you keep picking flowers from things that want to kill you.
Hey, they love me. You just gotta ask nicely. Compliment their foliage.
Right. Maybe buy them a drink before they choke you to death with vines. Well, you came to the right place.
You and I have quite the adventure ahead of us, Envoy.
I have, things to do back in Paradise. It keeps me plenty busy.
Come to think of it, I haven't been to Emerald Stair in a while, and the Envoy's never been. Know any good guides we could hire?
None that could help the two of you. You need the best guide in the lands to keep you from getting yourselves killed.
Yeah. Who else is going to show us which mushrooms we can eat and which ones want to eat us?
Now that you mention it, you're gonna need my help if you're traveling through the lands with this Nimdoot. I have 2 rules. No campfire songs and no hugs. That last one's non-negotiable.
I hear wiggle room on the singing.
If we're done being ridiculous, we should get some rest. We'll be in Emerald Stair tomorrow.
Good to have you with us, Marius.
Right. Go to bed before you violate the hugging rule. You should keep an eye on that scrape on you. You don't want it to get infected. Envoy? Right. Changing the subject. Companions? It's just Kai, isn't it? As you know, Kai and I have worked together in the past. It's a blessed miracle he never got me killed. Honestly, he's a good guy. A bit too quick to ask questions for my taste, but... Kai's good enough. Tell him I said that I'll cut a hole in your water skins. You too. What are you grinning for? Take him down.
Oh! Don't get too close. More Oh, fantastic. People. I was about to lose my wits.
A mind's question. The dust of the Akita in her hair. She knocks. We would answer.
You wouldn't happen to have a ladder on hand, would you? Sansa! Absolutely not. Cute as a button, but he's so high-strung. I pursue my own academic interests. Interests that require the vase in the ruins. And a ladder. But perhaps we don't need one. You're tall, striking, and well-toned. Oh, of course. Why would a priceless artifact be important? Well, I'm not surprised you don't know of the Godless. But they were here in the Living Lands long before we were. long before anyone else, as far as I can tell. Give or take a few thousand years. They lived on every corner of the lands. You must have passed a few of their ruins on the way here. The big ones, with spires that look more than a little phallic. A lot of their structures were embedded in the ground. They lived in harmony with the land. I mean, as much as you can live in harmony with the land actively trying to kill you. Maybe it was nicer back then. 30 years of research, and as far as I can tell, they just upped and disappeared one day. Fascinating, right? Well, what's important is that the vase is within my grasp, now that I've a tall, dark, and handsome stranger to help. There's a vase in this ruin that's too high for me to reach. Fetch it for me. I can pay you in skates if you do. The vase sits atop that tower beside us, in the ruins there. Once you've got it, look me up. Yahtzee, wizard extraordinaire, godless expert, and a Balrog in the bedroom.
You do meet the most interesting people.
I can get you 1,000 faces that don't require going into some ancient ruins. No one listens to me.
Another one! We got them all.
monstrous titties, you found it! I tried using magic to get the vase down, but alas. Thankfully, you and your little friends came along and saved the day.
Excuse me. We're all bigger than you are, mean dude.
I may be small, but my magic is not, I assure you. Oh, holding my vase hostage. I respect that. First and foremost, Fior is an animancer sanctuary. Vidaro, unlike his father, the former governor, is not an animancer. I don't know why anyone would give two pyres about Vidaro. He loathes the idea of others thinking Fior is less than perfect. Emerald Stair used to be the breadbasket of the living lands. Now it won't bear fruit, and there are rumors of plague. Pleasant, isn't it? But I'd best pack up. I want to get home. I have a new artifact to study. Thank you for your help, Godlike. Even if you didn't have a ladder. Who put the vase up there in the first place? Darling, you are aware I can see you digging through my things, aren't you?
Never seen Emerald Stair like this. It's usually so nice.
More of this stuff. Has anyone figured out how to get rid of it? As if people weren't hungry enough.
What do you mean that's all you've got? Last week you said there'd be grain.
I know what I said. I only asked
If you came to bless the crops, you're too late.
How they only managed to start me this way. What are these? Tea.
Take it up with the governor. You make the rules. Go home. Lay traps in the woods and pray for game. I can't help you.
We know you're stashing the grain somewhere. Well, let's have it.
There's no stash, as I've told you before. If I godlike.
Look, another late harvest. How do they expect me to feed my family? Last season, we were lining up all the way to the river, but at least there was enough food for everyone. It's not just the market either. Emerald Stair might as well be a graveyard. Animancers are supposed to work miracles on these lands. But what good are miracles if we're starving? You want to find the governor, then? Bastard's hiding in the big house on the far side of town. Animancers gave us these farms. If the harvest doesn't come, they'll be the ones who pay. We'll see about that. Word of advice, Outlander. Don't tarry in Emerald Stair. Not if you value your life.
Godlike.
Word of advice, give a wide berth to the governor's manor. Giat is about to tear that poor man a new one. One of our animancers. She's bright as a spark, but a mite confrontational. She came storming up the hill with a wheelbarrow full of spoiled crops. Then the shouting started.
Animancers fighting? This I have to see.
This isn't the first time Giat has put the governor in his place, but it might be the last. Look around. The town's overgrown, the crops are dying. What's not to fight about?
Just take a blessed day look outside. It doesn't take a genius to see this place is rolling downhill.
The governor's manor is on the far side of town. You can't miss it. Just follow the sound of foul language. Stay out of trouble. Or make sure I don't notice it.
Ah, the Emperor's envoy. Inquisitor Ludwig said you might be heading this way. Captain Alfair of the Steel Garrote. If you're here to speak with Vidaro, I'm afraid you'll find the governor is quite beyond reason. These Valians and their love of animancy. Good. Perhaps he will listen to you. I am not fashioned for statecraft. Still, I think the governor is too stubborn to be persuaded even by the Emperor's finest. When diplomacy fails, the Steel Garrote will be ready to ensure the safety of Adiran interests. Barter for peace, prepare for war. We all have our part to play, envoy. Until later.
She's as subtle as a broadside.
Does subtle mean something different outside of Solace?
The price. They do such lovely work here, don't they?
Hang on. I know you from Solace, right?
I'm afraid I don't know who you are. Just as you don't know who I am.
You're blessed a mad. I remember you. I gotcha.
So, we understand each other then. I never thought the world of animancy could be so varied and fascinating. I can make use of so much of this equipment.
I suppose it's a bit unusual to see one of my people about, but I'm here on important business. If you see anyone else from Sole's Keep, just do me a favor and don't tell them you saw me. Thank you. I wouldn't want my fellow wardens to misunderstand. But we still don't even know why you're here. You know what I mean. And Marius, it was good to see you. May you find all you're looking for and more. Please, don't tell anyone you saw me here.
Genuine healing crystals, purest in all of Eora.
Oh, you startled me. This old woman can get lost in prayer from time to time. You must be the Adiran envoy I've been hearing about. Apologies for any hardships you may have experienced getting here. The failing crops, the strange beasts, and even the dream scourge are all the result of our neglect of the dead. I was calling on the spirits of the recently dead to follow the guidance of Bareth, god of death. I am asking the spirits to forgive us for our negligence and continue on their way without anger. The dead of Fior expect certain rituals to be carried out. I have failed to perform those rituals, and now the spirits are angry. We cannot take that chance. There are angry spirits, and you know the problems we face. I believe the two are related. Our recent dead require a final meal to ease their passage from life. Without it, they can't rejoin the cycle.
You've got people waiting in line for their next meal, and you want to waste food on the dead?
I got food from the grain merchant stores. I just need someone to leave it at the graves. The dead will take it from there.
Flesh and bone, they bring the fruit to those who cannot eat. What tree calls for its branches to endure these rituals?
Of course. I follow a Valian tradition that teaches that the journey back to the cycle is a long and perilous one. Bareth appears as the usher to guide souls into the next life, but those who lose their way risk the ire of the Pallid Knight. We offer food to the recently dead to still their minds and give them something to offer should the Knight demand her toll. The recently dead are nearly as alive as you or I. Many don't believe they're dead, and many rebel against Bareth's beckoning. Any peace we can offer only helps them accept their fate and move on to the next life. You must take these offerings of food and place them at 3 grave sites where the recently dead lay. The first offering goes to a cliffside grave on the southern coast. The second offering goes to a grave in the swamp, far to the west from here. The final offering should be taken to the truffle farm east of Fior, where a family lost their lives to the encroaching wilds. I believe it will do exactly that. The spirits will find closure and rest, and the living can move on from this recent tragedy. Be careful, friends. The angry spirits lash out blindly. I cannot predict what awaits you at these graves.
Next time you want to tour graveyards, I'm staying at camp. We should help the living and let the dead rest.
I can't thank you enough for helping to ease the conscience of an old lady. Please, return when the rituals are complete.
Giata, what's the meaning of this?
Look at these crops! Look at your city! The Dream Scourge is laying waste to our home!
There is no Dream Scourge in Emerald Stair.
The land begs to differ, and I can prove it!
We can discuss this in private.
We are discussing it now! How can you ignore what's right in front of you? The Dream Scourge is here, in the soil, and it's killing us. Oh my goodness. Are you a godlike? Charmed. Forgive me for staring. It's just, we don't see many of your kind anymore.
Maybe you can talk some sense into our governor. Put the fear of the gods in him.
Seems more likely you'll have to punch some sense into him.
Excuse me, but unless you have official business, I'll thank you not to involve yourself in our private discussion. Very well. I hope you remember that behind these walls, your influence has limits.
I'm sure he didn't come all this way just to challenge your authority. As you can see, I was just proving a point to our esteemed governor.
A cart full of spoiled vegetables. You call that a point?
Ha! Emerald Stair used to be a lush garden for miles around, and now I don't even recognize it. First came the invasive species, roots and mycelium growing overnight, as though nature itself had gone mad. The Dream Scourge has twisted our lands, our wildlife, and now, our farms. Then there's no time to waste arguing with bureaucrats.
We definitely agree on that.
I believe that we can restore the land, bring back its soul and its sanity, cut off the Dream Scourge at the root. Our governor would rather ignore the problem. He doesn't trust animancy as his father did. Before we can deal with the Dream Scourge, we first need to understand it. Unfortunately, new experiments have to go through him.
Once again, bureaucracy stands in the way of getting things done.
I'm just trying to stop Giata from hurting herself. Animancy is dangerous when you're shooting in the dark. I see you're unfamiliar with animancy. Be careful with your assumptions. Are you going to tell him about your family's basement? Or should I?
How dare you use that against me?
I know it was an accident, but look what it cost you. We can't let it happen again.
While we argue among ourselves, the Dream Scourge is tearing the living lands apart. Tearing our people apart. Really? Unexpected from an Adiran. But how could I refuse an offer like that? Well, Governor, looks like I'm taking some time away from my duties. I'll trouble you no more.
Your request is denied, Giata.
I wasn't asking.
Your responsibilities are to the settlement. Turning away from them sets a precedent that I cannot allow.
Everything I have proposed has been for Fior, and you still refuse to cooperate. Under the circumstances, I don't have much of a choice.
Then neither do I. Giata Castel, from this day forth, you are banished from Fior Messiverno.
Banished?
What?
Ignacy, we can't lose our brightest animancer in the middle of a crisis.
Your pupil has gone too far, Quilici. Take her and leave. You're still a guest in my town, but to us, Giata is an outcast. Perhaps, but I can't just let her continue to poison the minds of my animancers.
They aren't your animancers. Your father understood that.
Don't bother, old man. He isn't his father. I've done all I can for Fior Mesiverno. But you haven't even tried. Now limp back to your giant house like a good dog. We should talk somewhere private. Meet me at my house due west by the workshop.
Another mouth to feed. Maybe we'll need to let Kai hunt more after all.
Another time, envoy.
By tradition, the governor's manor is open to the public.
I'm sorry you had to witness that spectacle. Giat is a spirited animancer, but she can be intolerable at times. Whatever you may think of us, I welcome you to Fior Mesiverno. Quilici wants us panicking over what he can't even prove. If there's a threat to Emerald's Dale, it's that old man and his fear-mongering. Don't waste your time on him. Be my guest. Take her away from here. As far as I'm concerned, she's your responsibility.
He reminds me of a lieutenant I served under. Led us into a trap because he wouldn't admit his maps were wrong.
If there's nothing more, I have a city to run.
I've got a powerful feeling we weren't supposed to see this.
Ado! Fine establishment, I mean.
That did not go as I had planned.
What did you think would happen when you confronted him so?
Well, my first idea was to mess up his house. Maybe break a window or two.
Perhaps I should thank you for showing restraint.
I'm sorry you had to see that. What an asshole.
Giata, some manners, if you please.
Why start now?
We're on the verge of extinction, but our governor is too busy protecting his fragile ego. What does he know? He isn't even an animancer.
You did challenge his authority.
I know, but... curses. Without Fior Mesiverno, I'm hardly even an animancer. My tools, the workshop, all gone.
I wish I could take credit for Giata's stubbornness, but she learned that on her own.
Thanks, old man. At least now I'm free to study whatever I want. On my terms. The dream scourge has been a thorn in my side for too long. A good question with a good answer. For now, I shouldn't bother you with the details. I have plans for this island, and they don't involve the dream scourge. But that's a story for another day.
Your parents would be proud to see such tenacity.
Anyway, listen to us babble. Let's talk about you. I never expected to see an Nadiran envoy here. You've got a lot of guts showing your face in a town full of animancers. Likewise, they should be educational for us both. Our first order of business is the Dream Scourge, but I'm also curious about you. There aren't many godlike left these days. Wouldn't that be a coincidence? I only bring it up because Anamancy might offer us some insight into your nature. Keep an open mind. While I pack up my belongings, you can help me by... No, sorry. I don't know what came over me. I just realized this is the end. I have to leave Fior Messiverno. Forever.
Some people don't find out who they really are until they leave home.
You'll be all right. My advice, find a good tavern and learn how to prepare a squirrel over an open flame.
Maybe if I focus on what I have gained, I can learn to accept everything I've lost. When it comes to the Dream Scourge, we haven't been allowed to acknowledge the problem, much less act on a solution. Today, that changes. I need help from the animancers around town, but as you can see, I'm an outcast. Don't worry. Ignacy can't banish us all. Monto Pastor is in the workshop due west. He's got an invention that can help us. Elia Rossell is an authority on the undead. Her methods are controversial, but useful. She lives in a cottage southeast of town. And then there's Yvette and Remy, our philosophers. You'll find them at the docks, southeast of Fior. Each of them owes me a favor. Drop my name and they'll tell you what they know about the Dream Scourge. I'd rather you find that out for yourself. Whatever it is, I won't be disappointed. We're about to make history. But first, research.
Guessing she's not much of a hunter. Might want to get extra rations next time we go shopping.
I hope you aren't afraid of lightning. Where there's animancy, there's bound to be lightning. Naturally. Be seeing you, my friend.
Careful! Or we'll get thrown out of the pub!
We're all ready. Ado!
Confounded machine. Oh, I heard there was a new arrival, but I didn't expect a godlike. Welcome to our modest workshop. Giada, what a loss. I owe that young woman more than I could ever repay. Unfortunately, I cannot do a lick of research while my equipment is underpowered and overworked. Ha! A novel idea, that. What I need is a stronger power source. We can't make something out of nothing. We're still limited by our resources. I could use a large single block of Atra, but Harvesting it is difficult in this environment. Oh, wait. One of our rangers reported that an Adragon recently died in a western grove. Indeed, but that well is almost dry. I need more. An Adragon's heart can hold an immense amount of essence. The grove is to the west, across the chasm. You can't miss it. The rangers say a Delamgan queen holds court there. You may be able to retrieve it without violence, but most Delamgan in these parts are hostile to Keith. So you can understand why none of us went rushing over there to find it when we heard the Adragon had died. Still, Delamgan queens can be reasoned with, so if you want to get the heart peacefully, try not to kill her guards. Do be careful. Emerald Stair is not itself these days.
If you can convince her to hand it over, I'll be more than impressed.
The Adra is healthy. It's the essence I'm concerned about.
This again.
I have to.
Some sound like Giada.
Ado.
Come. Come one, come on. My invention is guaranteed.
Yeah, I pretty much brought that plague bear down by myself.
Good to see you.
I really don't think you can deny that everything wrong with
They say he's still there, lying.
Oh, it's just unfortunate, that's all.
Yes, love. But to be fair, you have seen the title of his latest dissertation, yes?
I have. I very much looked forward to his presentation.
Sadly, I believe we've seen as much as we'll ever see.
Oh no, we were just discussing the unfortunate fate of the great Giacomo Feluccio.
Such brilliance, cut off in his prime. Truly, he was expected to set the world of Animensia aflame.
Well, I suppose he had an explosive career, nonetheless.
Oh, you. My dearest has the most delightful sense of humor.
Yes, I have never met a tragedy I couldn't find a way to enjoy.
I hope someone carries on the poor man's research.
This is one of the Living Land's main export hubs. Or it used to be.
The great mystery is, are godlike blessed or cursed? The gods are silent on this question.
Neither. They just are. Anything else is speculation.
Ah, I hate speculation. I want answers.
Remy, look what I found. A genuine godlike.
Do you think they can hear us?
Let's find out. Hello, me, Yvette. You friend?
Remy, take a note. Fluent speech and upright posture show marks of sophistication in the endangered godlike. We heard that Giada partnered up with an outsider, but I had no idea you were a godlike. Fascinating.
I suppose we owe her a favor. Or two.
Giada must have sent you to be our test subject. She knows how we adore your kind. Satisfy our curiosity and we'll give you everything Giada needs to finish her research. Deal?
Let's begin the examination. If you could choose, who or what would you be in your next life? Next time you go around the wheel, you might not get so lucky. Tired of being remarkable? Interesting.
My turn. Some would call you blessed. Others would call you cursed. The fact remains, you were touched by the gods. Wouldn't you say that you owe something to the rest of us? So, you believe we need your help. Interesting.
Oh, I thought of another. We all know that godlike can't reproduce. How do you plan on leaving a legacy after you're gone? Very optimistic, aren't we? I think that covers everything. Thank you for that brilliant insight, godlike. You're a credit to your dwindling kind.
So, Giada wants to know all about the Dream Scourge, yes? Such has been her research of late. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
The Dream Scourge is proof that an unprecedented metaphysical disaster can take place at any time.
Well, that's a load off my mind. Sure beats not constantly worrying about the future.
How's that good news?
Giada will be interested to learn that the Dream Scourge cannot just be studied in a lab. Its nature is wild, so it has to be studied in the wild. Our machines and experiments would meddle with it too much.
And like anything affecting the soul, it must be connected to essence. Thus, if she wishes to discover more about the Dream Scourge, a Pillar of Adra would be a good place to start.
Of course. The idea is a bit high-minded. Adra acts like a pathway for souls as they rejoin the wheel.
And the Dream Scourge is a plague of the soul, is it not?
So, just as Adra channels essence, so too may it provide a key to discovering more about the Dream Scourge. An entity, you say? If this entity is your patron, that's all perfectly natural. But if it's something else, with enough essence and a capable animancer, perhaps you could trace this tether back to its source.
Right, and with a little fresh sake, you can follow an ogre back to its lair. Still wouldn't recommend it.
Just be careful that your tether doesn't snap back and kill you in the process.
Now that we've researched the mind of a godlike, the next step is anatomy. But we've taken enough of your time. Farewell. Did you hear? Well, if it isn't my favorite godlike.
Why is it somehow worse when revenants aren't trying to kill you?
A godlike in Emerald's Den. Well, maybe our luck's improving. I'd offer to shake your hand, but I've been elbow deep in Beatrice all day. Beatrice, you know, the one with her viscera on display? As you can see, this is my reanimated corpse farm.
We can smell it, too.
I'm trying to demonstrate the value of undead labor, but of course nothing is ever that simple. What am I supposed to do? Just let them decompose? Reanimated corpses are the future of manual labor. Cost-effective, low maintenance, and very friendly. Now, Beatrice, she's being a real problem, if you can believe it. Would you be a dear and reach into her guts? Feel around for anything that doesn't belong. Giatta Castel wants my professional opinion. What an honor! I have a few theories, but no firm conclusions. I have to ask, is it true? Did Vidaro kick her out of town? He's a bigger fool than I thought. Very well. I'll tell you what I know about the Dream Scourge. But first, I need some help around the farm. I'm up to my ears in chores around here, and the Revenants can only do so much. They can't do complicated tasks, you see. Anyway, I'm afraid the time has come to put down poor Silvo. Silvo is one of my Revenants. My oldest, my favorite, and the pride of my flock. Someone needs to put a poor fellow out to pasture. And I just don't have the heart to do it myself.
Well, it's already dead. That's the hard part done right there.
When a revenant goes bad, there's only one option. Final death. And poor Silvo's time has come. Thank you for understanding. You can find Silvo in the barn. He's blocked the door somehow, but the window should be open. Just be gentle with him. He's a good boy.
So, we're killing a revenant then? She just couldn't come out and say that?
And this is why I don't take pets.
I was just getting warmed up.